السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله العلي الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا وسندنا وأعلانا وأولانا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. Welcome to Quranic Arabic Academy, Arabic Grammar Made Easy. Lesson number 61. Okay, just forgot to change it. Lesson number 61. رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد رسولا. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. If you concentrate on these du'as and try to think of the Arab, you should be able to do most of it. For example, the first one, Rabbi, we just did this a few days ago, that the word Rabbi, before there is a harf nida mahdhuf. And why is it Rabbi having a kasra? I mean, there was ya mutakallim. The ya mutakallim is omitted. So Rabbi, it was Rabbi, and then it was ya Rabbi. So because kasratul isti'mal, the ya is omitted, and the ya mutakallim is also omitted. We look at yassir, yassara, yassiru. Fa'al yassir is the fa'al amr, and so on. If you look at the next dua, raditu billahi, raditu. You can say it is fa'al madi, raditu. So the fa'al madi is radiya, radiya. So how this fa'al became raditu, inshallah, this is what we're going to learn from today in Sarf. So next time, just think the rest of the Arab, if you are able to do them. In this lesson, we're going to learn and understand as-Sarf. In the beginning, we said Arabic grammar is two parts. One is the Nahu and one is the Sarf. Nahu is to do with the isms and the Arab, basically. The Arab, the haraka on the last letter. Is it a mubtada wa khabar, or is it a fa'il? Is it maf'ul bihi? Is it maf'ul bihi thanin? Is it maf'ul mutlaq? مفعول لأجله, تمييز, حال, مستثنى. The إعراب في الماضي, is it مبني or is it معرب? The إعراب في المضارع, is it مبني or is it معرب? If it's معرب, in what حركة will it show? When is the حذف حرف العلة? All those is to do with the نحو. The Sarf, as we will understand more, is to do with the changing of the sighas, of the forms. We have one form, and from there we do tasrif, from tahwil, to going from one sigha to next sigha. So just with one word, we can make many words out of it. This is what basically the sarf is. Sarf morphology. The grammatical term as sarf is defined as the changing of the original root letters into different forms to create an intended meaning in the sigha that cannot be attained except by means of this change. An example of this would be changing the root word qat'un, the qaf, ta, ayn, into the past tense, which is qata'a. So we get the root letters, we put them in such a way to make it past tense. Same three root letters we put in such a way to make into the present tense, and the present tense yaqta'u, or the command iqta', and so forth. Yeah. So see, just from the three root letters qaf, ta, ayn, we changed it to get the fi'l madi form qata'a, and we changed a bit to get fi'l mudari yaqta'u, and then change a bit to get fi'l amr iqta'. Now from the past tense, the qata'a, even this one we can change into more forms, more sigas. So basically we can change into 14 forms just from this one word. Yaqta'u fil mudari, then we can change this to make 14 words out of this. Iqta', we can make 6 sigas out of this. So the change, sarrafa yusarrifu, means going from one word to next, from one siga to next siga, change, it is called sarf. A sarf includes all the derivatives, means we able to make ism from the sarf. We can make ism from the fi'l, derive isms, okay? A sarf includes all the derivatives of the root, such as active participle, ism fa'il, passive participle, ism maf'ul, and adjectives, sifat mushabbaha, sifat al-mubalagha. It is a science that investigates the forms and shapes of word types, as well as sound, weak, or substituted letters. So this is just a brief introduction to sarf. So we'll be looking everything what is here later on in the lessons one by one. We look at the past tense, we look at the present tense, we look at the fi'l amr, and we also make some isms from the fi'l. So we will learn some rules. Any fi'l we have in front of us, we're able to make all these, inshallah. Okay, so if you do not remember all this, just remember this much. The sarf is from the root letters, we make some words. That word gives the meaning of tenses. Some gives us meaning of past tense, some gives us meaning of present tense. Right, morphology. 99% of the verbs has 3 root letters. So this is very important. So understand this part. 99% of the verbs has 3 root letters. The 3 root letters of the word fa'ala or fa'ayn lam is fa'ayn lam. The 3 root letters of the word fa'il is fa, ayn, lam. The first letter is fa, and it is called Fa'ul Kalima. The second letter is Ain, and it's called the Ainul Kalima. And the third letter is Lam, and it is called Lamul Kalima. So these are the basically three places you can say. You have to remember. The place of Fa is called Fa'ul Kalima. The place of Ain is called Ainul Kalima. And the place of Lam is called the Lamul Kalima. Or you can call it slot. The slot of the Fa is called Fa'ul Kalima. The slot of Ain is called Ainul Kalima, and the slot of Lam is called Lamul Kalima. Any letter that comes in place of Fa or in the slot of Fa is called the Fa'ul Kalima. Any letter that comes in the place of Ain or Ain slot, it's called the Ainul Kalima. And any letter that comes in the place of Lam is called the Lamul Kalima. When we take these three root letters, Fa, Ain, Lam, and put them together, it becomes something Fail, for example, Fail, or Fa, Ain, Lam together. Now, we need to put haraka on them to be able to read. So what haraka do we put? If we put fatha on all three letters, it becomes fa'ala. So once we get the three root letters, we put fatha on them, it becomes fa'ala, and we have a verb. Fa'ala means to do. Okay. So main thing we have to remember, the Fa slot is called the Fa'ul Kalima, the Ain slot, Ainul Kalima, the Lam slot, Lamul Kalima. So any letter falls in the place of Fa, either it could be Hamza, it could be Ba, it could be Ta, it could be Tha, it could be Sad, it could be Sheen, it could be Lam. Any letter falls in place of Fa, that is called Fa'ul Kalima. Any letter falls in the place of Ain, it could be Ba, it could be Jim, it could be Ain itself, it could be Ghain, it could be Lam, it could be Ta, it could be Sad, it could be Ya. Any letter falls in the place of Ain, we'll call it Ainul Kalima. And again, any letter falls in the place of Lam, it is called Lamul Kalima. It could be any letter. It could be Lam itself. Ya, Waw, Mim, Qaf, Ra, Za, Dal, any letter. As long as it falls in Fa, is Fa'ul Kalima. If it falls in the place of Ain, Ainul Kalima. If it falls in Lam, Lamul Kalima. Right, today was very important lesson. Only few are attending in the class. Okay, understood? Let's take another three root letters. Jim, Lam, Sin. Jim, Lam, Sin. So let's say Jim is coming in place of Fa. Lam is coming in the slot of Ain. The Sin is coming in the slot of Lam. So the Jim is called Fa'ul Kalima. The Lam is called Ainul Kalima. and the sin is called lamul kalima. So they said only 3 places we have in fi'l: fa'ul kalima, ainul kalima, lamul kalima. Fa'ul kalima, ainul kalima, lamul kalima. Sometimes for short we say fa kalima, ain kalima, lam kalima. But this is the proper name of this slot: fa'ul kalima, ainul kalima, lamul kalima. Now, if we put fatha on all 3 letters, it becomes jalasa on the scale of fa'ala. Jalasa means to sit. When we put fatha on all 3 letters, it automatically becomes fi'l madi, past tense. Okay, so next time we get 3 root letters and put fatha on them, it automatically becomes fi'l madi. Obvious, provided it has a meaning, so that we just bring any letters from ourselves and we put them fatha, it will become the past tense. No, it must have a meaning. Okay, it must come from Arabic language. You get 3 root letters from your own. You're not going to find those 3 letters in any dictionary. It's not going to be a fi'l madi, is it? No, those 3 root letters, if you put fatha on them, it has a meaning, and it gives you the meaning of the past tense. Then it'll become fi'l madi. Let's take some more 3 root letters and put fatha on them. Fa, ain, lam. Put fatha on them, becomes fa'ala, means to do. Jim, lam, sin. Put fatha on them, becomes jalasa, to sit. Dhal, ha, ba. Put fatha on them, becomes dhahaba, means to go. Next, dal, kha, lam. Dal is called fa'ul kalima. Kha is called ainul kalima. The lam is called lamul kalima. See, first letter fa, first letter dal, fa kalima. Second letter ain, here second letter kha, ainul kalima. Third letter lam, third letter over here lam, lamul kalima. Over here fa kalima, ain kalima, the ha, and the ba is lamul kalima. So dal, kha, lam, when we put fatha on them, becomes dakhala, means to enter. Next, kha, ra, jim becomes kharaja, to go out. Next, dad, ra, ba becomes daraba, means to strike. So, yeah, any 3 root letters. Remember, it is not for us. We cannot make any 3 root letters and put fatha on them, as I said before, and it become fi'l madi. No. We find from a dictionary, then we put fatha on them. So is it always fatha on all 3 letters? No, that is not the case. Sometimes the ain kalima will change. The haraka of the ain kalima will change. So how do you know when to put fatha on ain kalima, when to put kasra on ain kalima, when to put Dhamma on Ain Kalima? Well, there is no rule. It has already been made. It has already been put by the Arabs. So we have no choice. We just have to learn and memorize. The Ainul Kalima can also have Kasra or Dhamma. The Ainul Kalima not always will have a Fatha, but majority of the verbs, the Ainul Kalima will have a Fatha, the majority. But some can also have, the Ainul Kalima can also have Kasra or Dhamma. The Ainul Kalima having Kasra. Let's see some examples. Sin, Ain, Mim. So Sin is called the Fa'ul Kalima. The Ain is called the Ainul Kalima. And the Mim is called the Lamul Kalima. Yes, the first letter and the last letter, the haraka remains the same, Fatha, Fatha. It is only the Ainul Kalima, only the Ainul Kalima can have a Kasra or Dhamma. So the example, the Ainul Kalima having Kasra. Sin, Ain, Mim. We'll leave Fatha on the Fa'ul Kalima, on the Sin. We'll leave Fatha on the Lamul Kalima, on the Mim. It is only the Ainul Kalima will have a Kasra. Sami'a. Oops. Sami'a. Should be the other way around, okay? I'll change in a minute. Sin, Mim, Ain. Sami'a means to hear. Ain, Lam, Mim. Ain, Lam, Mim. So over here, Ain is the Fa Kalima. Lam is the Ainul Kalima. And the Mim is the Lamul Kalima. So it becomes Alima. Alima, to know. Next, Shin, Ra, Ba. The Ainul Kalima will have a Kasra, so it will be Shariba. Shariba, to drink. Next, Ain, Mim, Lam becomes Amila. Amila, to work. So we'll change the Sin, Mim, Ain. Okay, so it is not always the Ainul Kalima will have a Fatha. No, sometimes the Ainul Kalima can have Kasra or Dhamma. So these are the examples of Ainul Kalima having Kasra. Sami'a, to hear. Alima, to know. Shariba, to drink. Amila, to work. Next, the Ainul Kalima having Dhamma. Kaf, Ra, Mim becomes Karuma. Karuma means to become generous. Qaf, Ra, Ba. The Ainul Kalima will have a Dhamma. The Ra over here, Qaruba, to become near. Ba, Ain, Dal, 3 root letters. The Ba is fa'ul kalima. The ayn is aynul kalima, and the dal is lamul kalima. So aynul kalima will have a dhamma, will becomes ba'uda. See all the examples, the first letter and the last letter, the haraka remains the same. Yes, in fi'l madi, the first letter and the last letter remains fatha. It is only the aynul kalima can have fatha, kasra, or dhamma. So ba'ayn dal ba'uda to become fa, tha, qaf, lam. Put the dhamma on the aynul kalima, will become thaqula, thaqula, to become heavy, thaqula, to become heavy. Now, the lessons we're going to do about sarf, we will also be doing some of the things we've done in the past, so we don't forget them. Okay, as it will be a revision, especially when we make once we learn a rule, then we'll make a jumla, a sentence, because it's to do with a fail. So in this part of the course, all the jumla will be jumla failiyya, yeah? And we will also do the i'rab as well, so we don't forget them. Next, fail. We know the 3 root letters. Now we need to know what is a verb. A fail denotes action in relation to past, present, and future tense. Example, fa'ala, he did. Yaf'alu, he is going or he will do. There are 3 types of fail. One is al-fail al-madi, the past tense. Number 2, al-fi'l al-mudari, present and future tense. Fi'l al-amri, imperative, command or instruction, make a request or offer advice. Al-fi'l al-madi, al-fi'l al-mudari, al-fi'l al-amru. Fi'l al-amri. Now, do you remember we did the properties of fail? So there are 5 properties of a fail. Either it is fi'l madi or fi'l mudari or fi'l al-amr. We must remember these 5 properties. As long as we have in the back of our head, that's fine. We don't have to memorize and remember nothing. Number 1, az-zaman. It must give you meaning of a tense. Number 2, al-i'rab, the state. Number 3, an-naw, the gender. The number 4 is ma'lum wa majhul, the active voice and the passive voice. Ma'lum and majhul. And number 5, muthbat and manfi, affirmation and negation. I think is there, but we cannot see. Oops, okay, let's go back. Can you see a negation and passive voice? You have to make this bigger, then we're able to see that. Okay, so these are the 5 properties of fi'l: az-zaman, al-i'rab, an-naw, ma'lum or majhul, muthbata and manfi. Then we'll go one by one. Az-zaman. What you need to know about zaman? Fail gives the meaning of al-fail al-madi, the past tense, and al-fail al-mudari, present and future tense. Fail madi and al-fail al-mudari. These are the 2 zaman of fail. Then we need to know the i'rab. So we have فعل ماضي, we have فعل مضارع, we have فعل الأمر. What is the إعراب? The إعراب is either مبني or معرب. مبني or معرب. مبني means indeclinable. It remains the same. It doesn't have any إعراب. It doesn't have any, the haraka doesn't change. معرب, it changes, the haraka changes. So mabni means even in rafa case, whatever we will see, we'll pronounce. In nasab case, we'll pronounce the same. We'll see the same thing. In jar case, still we will see the same case. That is to do with ism. But for fail obvious, it does have rafa case, nasab case, and the majzum case. So mabni is al-fi'l al-madi and fi'l al-amr. These two are mabni. Okay, so fi'l madi, fi'l amr, we're not going to say is marfu or mansub or majzum. We'll say mabni على whatever, فتح, مبني على السكون, مبني على الضم, whatever. معرب is only one فعل, الفعل المضارع. So فعل مضارع, yes, will be in مرفوع case. فعل مضارع will be in منصوب case. فعل مضارع will be in مجزوم case. Remember, مجرور is the specialty of ism. Ism will not have jazm or majzum case. Fail, the specialty of the fail is majzum. Fail will not have jar. It will not be in majrur case. Okay, so we've done zaman, we've done al-i'rab. Number 2 and number 3, an-naw. And now, as we know, now is gender, the mudhakkar and muannas. So before that, let's go through al-fi'l al-madi mabni. As we've learned, fi'l al-madi is mabni. So what are the forms of al-fi'l al-madi mabni on what? So that means sometime mabni ala al-fath, sometime will be mabni ala sukun, sometime mabni ala dam. Well, what is it? Let's see. So we have mabni ala al-fath. So whenever we have a fi'l madi, either we say mabni ala al-fath, or we say mabni ala dam, or we say mabni ala sukun. We've done this in the previous lesson. This is just a recap and revision for us. So mabni ala al-fath, mabni ala al-dam, mabni ala al-sukun. Next we have fi'l al-mudari. It is mu'rab. So mu'rab means all three. Marfu, mansub, and majzum. Okay. Fi'l al-amr is mabni. Fi'l al-amr is mabni. So we just have one. Mabniyun ala sukun. Mabniyun ala sukun. So quickly, let's go back and recap. الفعل الماضي مبني على الفتح. Number 2, مبني على الضم. Number 3, مبني على السكون. فالمضارع is معرب, so مرفوع, منصوب, مجزوم. فعل الأمر مبني على السكون. Okay. الفعل الماضي, past tense. So we know what are the root letters, and we know how many root letters we must have. The 99% of the fi'l in Arabic language has 3 root letters. The first letter is called the Ainul Kalima, the Fa'ul Kalima. The second root letter is called the Ainul Kalima, and the third root letter is called the Lamul Kalima. And we've seen some examples. The Ainul Kalima sometimes has a fatha, sometimes has a kasra, sometimes has a dhamma. Every fi'l needs a fa'il, either it be fi'l madi, fi'l mudari, or fi'l amr. Every fi'l needs a fa'il. The rule of fa'il: the fa'il, which is the doer or the subject of the sentence, always comes after fi'l and is always marfu. This is a bit of nahwu we're doing now. The fa'il always comes after fi'l. Doesn't have to be straight after fi'l. It can be after 1 word or 2 words or 3 words, as long as the fa'il is after the fi'l. And the fi'l is always in marfu case. The fa'il can be a ism zahir, solid ism zahir, or a damir. If the fa'il is mudhakkar, either ism zahir or damir, but we know the doer is mudhakkar, use the fi'l on the scale of fa'ala. It doesn't matter if the ism zahir or the fa'il is wahid, muthanna, or jama'. The fi'l always remains on the scale of fa'ala, the first sigha. The fa'il can be wahid, the fa'il can be muthanna, or fa'il can be jama'. Next, if the fa'il is muannas, use the fi'l on the scale of fa'alat. So this ta is to make the fi'l muannas. It doesn't matter if the ism zahir or the fa'il is wahid, muthanna, or jama'. When the fa'il is jama' mukassar ghair aqil, we use the fi'l on the scale of fa'alat, the muannas form of it, because jama' mukassar ghair aqil is considered wahid muannas. Yes. Okay, so these things we've done in the past, just a recap. Why is this come again? Again, a revision. Okay, it's coming twice. Right. Fi'l al-madi. Okay, that's some examples. Kharaja. We've got 3 root letters. Kharaja. We put a fatha and we've learned this fi'l. Kharaja. So every fi'l needs a fa'il. So the fa'il can be ism zahir. We will be able to see it. We'll be able to read it. Or the fa'il is damir. If the fa'il is damir, we call it mustatir. Remember? If the fa'il is ism zahir, it is zahir. We'll be able to see it. We'll be able to read it. But if the fa'il is a damir, it's invisible. We're not going to see it. We're not going to read it. Mustatir. So kharaja, fi'l madi, Al-waladu. Okay. Kharaja al-waladu. So the file is ism dhahir, and it is after fail, and it is in marfu case. So kharaja fil madi, al-waladu fa'il. Translation: the boy went. Kharaja fi'lun madin mabniyun ala al-fath, because we can see fatha on the last letter, we can utter. فعل ماضي مبني على الفتح. الولد فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفع الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Good? Simple. Next, خرج. That's what we have. خرج فعل فاعل. We don't have اسم ظاهر here. That means the file is ضمير مستتر. خرج. He went. إعراب خرج في الماضي مبني على الفتح، والفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو. Oops, went too fast. Yeah, we just have a فعل and file the same. خرج فعل ماض مبني على الفتح، والفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو. Next we have خرجت. That means our file is مؤنث. خرجت. See, the file, it doesn't matter. Could be واحد, could be مثنى, or could be جمع. So خرجت. Oops, again the same thing. Okay. خرجت البنت. So we've learned in the past that the Hamza of al, it is called Hamzatul Wasl. That means the letter before this Hamza will connect to the lam of al. But this one is sukun on it, this one is sukun on it. Over here we need to change the sukun to kasra. We've done that in the past. Oops. So it becomes kharajatil bintu. Kharajatil bintu. The girl went. So kharajat فعل ماضي مبني على الفتح, because the last letter is the jim. والتاء تاء التانيث الساكنة. This ta is called تاء التانيث to make فعل ماضي مؤنث. It is a حرف لا محل له من الإعراب. البنت فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفع الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. So let's make the فاعل مثنى. البنتان. خرجت البنتان. File can change, but خرجت فعل will never change, because فعل is showing is مؤنث. So خرجت البنتان. So خرجت فعل ماضي مبني على الفتح. تاء will remain the same. والتاء تاء التانيث ساكنة حرف لا محل له من الإعراب. البنتان فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه not ضمة anymore. بنتان الألف لأنه مثنى. Yeah, because مثنى shows إعراب with ألف. So البنتان فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الألف لأنه مثنى. We can change this into a جمع. خرجت البنات. بنت جمع بنات. So خرجت البنات. We've learned the إعراب of مفرد اسمز or واحد اسمز. and the i'rab of jama mukassar ism is the same. So al-bintu, which is mufrad wa wahid, fa'ilun marfu'un وعلامة رفع ضمة الظاهرة على آخره. البنات is the same because we're having ضمة on the last letter, بنات. So البنات same, فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفع الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Next, خرجت. Let's see if we have اسم ظاهر as a doer or ضمير مستتر. So we have ضمير مستتر. We don't have any اسم ظاهر. Suppose there are some words after خرجت, but those words are not in marfu case. We have one word, say example in nasab case, mansub. We see the fatha on the last letter. Another ism we see it is in jar case, majroor, is having kasra there. So none of these words can be the fa'il, because fa'il i'rab is rafa. So over here we don't have any isms, ظاهر, apparent, visible. That means fa'il is within, hidden, mustatir, kharajat. She went. Because we don't have any name, we have to translate she. If we have kharajat Khadijatu, then we know Khadija went. Kharajat al-bintu, we know the girl went. But no ism dhahir, then we translate she went. Or the ism can be before it. The damir is returning to the ism we already mentioned. Then still we say she went. The Arab will be the same. خرجت فعل ماض مبني على الفتح. والتاء تاء التانيث الساكنة حرف لا محل له من الإعراب. والفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هي. تقديره هي. Okay, before we end the lesson, let's see one more example. What we've said. Okay, not this one. We're just gonna this one. We'll duplicate it. Okay. The Jama Mukassar Ghair Aqil. We don't have the example of that. So very quickly we're gonna say Jalasat, because we're gonna have the fa'il Jama Mukassar. So the fa'il will be Wahid Muannas because it is considered Wahid Muannas. So let's have a, what can we have for Jama Mukassar Ghair Aqil? Can do the action. We're not going to say Jalasatil Kutubu, because Kutub cannot do the action of Jalasa, can it? So we must have an animal, which is Ghair Aqil, an animal. So let's say Kalbun Jama Kilabun. So Kilabun is Jama Mukassar. So if the fa'il is Jama Mukassar, then the fa'il will be Wahid Muannas. So Jalasat al-Kilabu. Al-Kilabu. So what we need to do, we leave the jalasa as it is. The fail, the i'rab will be the same. Ta will remain the same. It is only we need to change the fa'il, and because is jama mukassar and the mufrad or wahid isms, the i'rab is the same, so the i'rab will be the same. Just have to translate the dog sat. Okay, so let's go through this again quickly. So, jalasat al-kilabu, when we read together becomes jalasat al-kilabu, the dog sat. Jalasat فعل ماض مبني على الفتح. والتاء تاء التعنيس الساكنة حرف لا محل له من الإعراب. الكلاب فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفع الضمة الظاهرة وعلى آخره. This part of the lesson is just a revision for us, so we don't forget our i'rab. But the main thing to have learned in this lesson is what is sarf and 3 root letters. These 3 root letters and the name of the slot are very important. The first root letter is called Fa'ul Kalima. The second root letter is called the Ainul Kalima, and the last root letter is called the Lamul Kalima. Okay, so this is the end of lesson 61, and in the next lesson, inshallah, we'll build up on it and we'll learn some other things. Okay, before we finish the class, any questions? If not now, maybe if you do have any questions, we can post in our Telegram group. And those of you who have joined us in the later part of the Nahu side of the course, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can go and start from the beginning. Those of us are here with us, if you've missed from the beginning of the Nahu side, but if you concentrate from here, from the beginning of the Sarf side, and inshallah you'll learn many of the Sarf side of the things, even you didn't do anything before, or you did something before, some Sarf before, inshallah you'll understand much better with me, inshallah. May Allah give us tawfiq. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.